All right, this is a little bit of an unplanned version of the podcast today. I've ran out of time being back, and I want to get one done this week. And so instead of being hall class, this is gym class. We caught two of the sisters over here for dinner tonight, and they are kind enough to hang around. I thought it'd be fun for the youth and the children in the ward and the adults to get to know our sister missionaries. So we have Sister Schoonmaker and Sister Ward, who all have introduced themselves one at a time. So Sister Schoonmaker, why don't you tell everybody where you're from and a little bit about your family?
Okay, so I am Sister Schoonmaker. I am from Mapleton, Utah. If you don't know where that is, it's about 20 minutes southeast of Provo. I am the oldest of four. I have a younger brother and two younger sisters. My family loves spending a lot of time outside. We watch a lot of movies together, but our favorite thing to do is skiing together. We go skiing a lot.
That's a good intro. How about your parents? What do they do?
Well, my mom was a stay-at-home mom until I went off to college, and then she became a preschool teacher. She's a saint. I don't know how she does that. And my dad is a sales operations manager, so he goes into companies and looks at how they're doing in sales and analyzes how they can do better.
That's cool.
I'm
Have you guys
pretty
lived in Mapleton your whole life?
We haven't actually. I grew up about 5 minutes southeast of the Provo City Center Temple, and so all growing up, before the tabernacle burnt down, I was in the stake that took care of it. And I lived next to my mom's parents and my mom's sister, and we called it the compound. And there were 3 houses, and they all faced each other, and it was all fenced in, and everyone knew where we lived because we called it the compound.
You know what, Cassie and I lived in that stake, probably not very far from where that is, and I'd be curious if I can remember it. That's interesting. Well, cool. Thank you for introducing. And Sister Ward, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sister Ward. I'm from Malad, Idaho. It's a little small town right off the Utah-Idaho border. If you've driven from Utah into Idaho, like to Pocatello, you've probably been through there to get gas.
On the way to Rexburg?
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My family, pretty big. There's 5 of us kids, and I've got countless cousins. We're all very close. I love my family very, very much. Yeah.
Cool. Tell us about your siblings and parents.
Yeah, so I grew up on a farm, so my dad spends a lot of time farming.
What type of farm?
We grow alfalfa just to feed our cows. So it's more of a ranch than a farm, I guess. But
So you got cows?
Mm-hmm.
Dairy cows?
No, beef.
So no, you don't have to milk. Awesome.
No.
No early mornings.
No early mornings.
Yeah, no.
My dad grew up on a dairy farm.
Oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah, no, my dad did dairy farming when he was little, but not for me. But yeah, so we do a lot of work on the farm. My dad also works at Nucor Steel down in Utah, which is just a steel plant. And my mom, she's kind of the same way. She's been a stay-at-home mom for most of my life. She volunteers as an EMT. And then when I went away to college, she got a job as an aide for school. So she does a lot of aiding down in Garland. So, yeah.
Interesting. So I was also going to ask you, pre-mission, what were you guys doing right before your mission?
So I did 2 semesters at BYU before I left on my mission. I was studying American history with a minor in political science and English. So I was going to be a history teacher and then do ghostwriting on the side for deans and presidents of universities. But my lifelong goal has actually been to be a seminary teacher. And as I've been on my mission, I've realized that needs to be my plan when I get home. So you still have to do a major, so I'm a history major still, but I'm going to get my master's in seminary and institute.
Do you do that at BYU or you go somewhere else? Because I've been watching a bunch of podcasts. They introduce people and it seems like everybody's all over the board. Do you know what to do?
Yeah, so with seminary, you just have to have a degree in order to teach full-time seminary. So I can have my degree in anything, And so the plan is I'll get my degree and then teach full-time seminary. And if I want to move up to seminary and institute, I can do something else. But I really like high school-aged kids. I really like being at that level. So I think I'll probably stick with seminary.
You had release time seminary growing up, right? Both of you?
I did.
I actually chose to take early morning seminary so I could have more free periods. So I didn't have to go to school as long every day.
I don't know if all the teenagers know what release time seminary is, Ward. Why don't you tell them what it is?
Yeah, so there was an hour every day that we got taken out of our schedule to go to seminary.
So it was like one of your classes on your schedule?
Yeah.
There's like a separate building down the street or right across the street from your high school campus that you go and you take seminary at.
And you get credit for it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. So the kids in Utah and Idaho don't, except for Sister Schoonmaker, don't have to wake up early to go to seminary.
No.
All right, what were you doing before your mission, Sister Ward?
Before my mission, I went to Southern Virginia University for a semester, and then I came back home and worked full-time at a daycare.
So I would love for you to talk about SVU. So Elder Clark, who was our stake president, he's on the board of trustees out there.
Oh, wow.
Actually, my mission, not companion, mission friend, he's the head football coach out there too.
Oh, cool.
And both of them just swear up and down about what an amazing school it is. Why don't you tell everybody about SVU and your experience, what you think of it?
Yeah. I loved SVU. There's a lot of really great people out there, and it's a really good environment. I personally couldn't stay.
Where is it located?
It's in Southern Virginia, right next to Lexington, kind of. But yeah, I personally couldn't stay there for the full, my full college experience just because I couldn't afford it. But I loved it so, so much. And I would go out there just for the environment again.
Cool. Now, what were you studying?
I hadn't declared a major yet, but I was kind of looking into music.
Did you play music growing up?
Yeah, I played a little bit of the clarinet, piano, and I love to sing, so yeah.
What would you like to do with music if you major in it?
I'm not really 100% sure. I've thought a little bit about going into being a music teacher, teaching choir. I've thought about...
Did you watch Glee growing up?
Yes. I thought about doing the dramatic arts and going into acting, but yeah, I'm not sure.
That's cool. Well, thank you for sharing that. So let's ask a few more questions about getting to know you guys. So what was it like growing up on a farm?
Yeah.
And how many animals? Why don't you name all the animals you guys have?
We have 150 head of cows. The most horses I've ever had was 11. Right now we only have 4. Most of our good horses have died. But yeah, we have pigs, chickens, lots of dogs. We have red heelers and blue heelers. And I love our dogs so much. I'm a big animal person. So we had goats for a while. They didn't last very long. But yeah, I loved growing up on a farm. It's a really good place to learn how to work hard. And I've always told my mom that it's a place that I would want to raise my own kids, because it's just a way that, again, you can learn how to work hard and still find time for family.
What type of chores or work did you have to do around the farm?
Yeah, so I did a lot of the inside work, and I also helped my brothers move pipe more when I was little. Yeah, we had hand pipe.
Go talk to David Alexander, by the way.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I helped do that. I helped round up the cows when we were doing branding. We would get on our horses and round cows up.
What was your brand?
Our brand, Box L.
So it's spelled out, or is it L inside of a box?
So it's a box and then an L.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
For those that couldn't see, she drew a box, and then there's an L overlapping with it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that my brothers did a lot more than I did. They did a lot of fixing the fence and going to like preg check the cows, but I did more of the stuff inside, making sure the house was clean, making sure that everything that way was taken care of.
Got it. So before college, before your missions, tell me like what would you guys like to do in high school? Did you do any sports or acting or what? Let's Schoonmaker first.
Yeah, so I always played basketball and ran cross country. My cross country was kind of my conditioning for basketball, how I got ready for the season. So I did that in high school. I had a job from when I turned 16 on. I loved working and having like that money to spend. I really love Diet Coke and tacos, so it was a great way to spend my money. And I was always on student council too. I went to a smaller charter school, and so I had known a lot of the administration since I had been in kindergarten and a lot of the students. And so I had a really good relationship working with them, and I was always an executive on student council and planning things. I love planning. And so that really was how I spent a lot of my time. I love people, so I spent a lot of time hanging out with friends and also a lot of time just with my family.
What type of jobs did you work? And were they up in Provo or down by Mapleton?
So my jobs were always in Provo. My first job was a soccer ref for like fourth graders, and I hated it. I laughed.
How much did that pay? Here it pays $25 a game.
It's gone up a lot since I did it. When I did it, it was about $8 to $10 an hour. I only lasted about 4 weeks in that job. And then I got a job at a leather company. And so this leather company was run by senior missionaries in my stake, and it was their family-owned business. So it was really small. It was the grandparents, the son, and then the grandson, and me. And they did custom orders like luggage tags and wallets, and they would do thousands of these at a time, and every single one of them was handmade. And then they also did stuff for the church. So like if you've ever seen a take-home sacrament kit, they come in like canvas bags with like the collapsible tray. I made those, or I assembled them. I probably sewed the bag for that and put everything together for those. So that was my job in high school. And then when I got to college, I started working in the religion department at BYU as faculty support. So we would do different things for the professors, like transcriptions of their interviews or making copies for them. We'd have to like check their tests before they went to the testing center. And so I did both of those up until I left on my mission.
Did you ever not get an A on a religion class?
Yes.
Ooh.
I took Book of Mormon my first semester at BYU, and it was from this professor. He'd been there for like forever, probably like 40 plus years.
What's his name?
Byron Merrill. I
remember seeing the name. You took it.
Yeah, he had the hardest class I've ever taken in my life, and you can ask any of my companions. I love the Book of Mormon so much. My Book of Mormons are so well loved, but I could not pass this class to save my life. And I think I scraped by with like a B minus, maybe a B in that class, but his tests, they were hard.
By the way, are there any religion, for kids heading up there, any religion professors that you're like, absolutely you should take this person? Yeah, for sure. I would definitely say Barbara Morgan Gardner. She teaches more in the church history and doctrine department, but she's amazing. She talks a lot about different roles in the church and how we can be in those and help them, and she's very invested in her students, so I would recommend her. I'd also recommend Anthony Sweat for Foundations of the Restoration. He does a really, really good job. He's cool. He's awesome. For more ancient scripture, Hank Smith is always an entertaining class to take. At the end of his semester, you will either have to do like a big project or like a 7-page paper. His tests are a little harder, but he gives you all the answers in class, so kind of depends on what your vibe is. But those are like always the ones that I would take classes from, would recommend. That's cool. Hank's entertaining too. All right, let's see. How about you, Sister Ward, in high school, other than cleaning the house? What'd you do? Laying pipe, cleaning the house?
So in high school, I was very much into like theater and the dramatic arts. So I loved to do choir. I did a little bit of band for a couple years, but I didn't stick with it for too long. I did quite a few plays, and I loved them. I met some really great people doing the plays, and trying to think, what else did I do? Oh, I worked at Subway for a little while in high school. Wouldn't recommend it. Wasn't necessarily the best job, but hey, a job is a job.
All right, so are there any secrets to Subway? Like, as a consumer, is there something I should know if I go into a Subway to, like, make sure I got a good sandwich, or the best sandwich, or best value for my money?
Oh, that's a good question. So, yeah, we have like a certain amount of meat that we put on the sandwiches. So if and in my opinion, it's not as much as I like. So I would always double the meat. If I was making a sandwich for myself, double the meat, and I would get some of the veggies toasted on it. Like my bell peppers and my banana peppers and those kinds of things. I would toast them on my sandwich. Really, really good.
I always thought they put too much bread and not enough meat, so I'd always get like the small or the mini or whatever, and then do the double meat.
Yeah.
Seems to balance out right.
Yeah.
It's about balance.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, important question.
Yeah.
Either of you guys leave a guy at home?
No.
Nope.
No boys writing to you?
No.
Are you open to boys writing to you?
I'm almost going home, so.
I know. Oh, I should have started with that. So how much longer do you have?
I have about 6 weeks left on my mission.
All right. And Sister Ward?
I've got approximately 7 months left.
Awesome. So, and out of curiosity, when you got ready for your mission, which temples did you go through? Were you Provo City, for example?
I was Provo City. I had already planned on going through the temple before I got my mission call. I had been planning that for a couple months. But there's so many temples in Utah. You can go to anyone. My parents actually live in the Payson Temple District now, and that's like one of my favorite temples. I love that temple so much.
So which one did you go through?
I went through the City Center Temple.
To start?
Yeah, to start.
Okay.
That was the first temple I went to.
And Sister Ward, were you Pokey, or where'd you go? Idaho Falls?
Yeah, so the Poke Temple...
Logan?
Poke Temple wasn't actually... I don't think. I could be wrong. But it wasn't open, if I remember right, when I got my endowments out. I wanted to get them out as soon as possible. I was so excited. So I went through the Brigham Temple.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a gorgeous temple. I love the Brigham City Temple.
I did not peg that. That's a great idea. Okay, Good call.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's have some fun. This is for especially the primary kids, right? So I want to know your favorite cartoon show growing up.
Ooh.
What'd you watch on Saturday mornings or after school?
Phineas and Ferb.
Oh,
All the way. Actually, my family still watches that sometimes. We when I broke my collarbone, we all binged it together.
You mentioned that earlier when we were upstairs, so tell me about how you broke your collarbone.
So 2 days after I got my mission call, I was skiing at Sundance Resort in Provo Canyon, and I hit some moguls that were hidden under some fresh powder and just tumbled down enough that I broke my left collarbone at both ends. So I have a nice 6.5-inch plate on my collarbone.
Lovely. Phineas and Ferb is epic. How about you, Ward?
I watched a lot of cartoons growing up. My family loved it.
You can rattle off 3 or 4 if you want.
We watched Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, Scooby-Doo. I loved Scooby-Doo. And yeah, Phineas and Ferb.
Okay. And I got a preview to this. So Brooklyn was earlier asking you your favorite movie. So favorite movie is?
Mine is Tommy Boy.
Awesome.
And mine is Princess Bride.
Opposite ends of the spectrum. I respect both of them very, very much. Do you prefer Harry Potter or Star Wars?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Easy.
Favorite Harry Potter movie?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
3. Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah.
Okay.
I really like Goblet of Fire.
Ooh, that's a pretty good one too. Yeah, both good. Okay. Favorite wizard in Harry Potter?
It's a little controversial.
Draco?
No, Bellatrix Lestrange.
Oh, she's awesome.
She has a painting of her hanging above a watercolor painting above her bed.
Let me guess. In her bedroom, she has Jesus and Bellatrix.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is. It's so funny. When she put it up the first day, I was dying.
Okay, so here's what happened. When I play sports, I'm really competitive. And there was a running joke in one of my districts that I was like Bellatrix Lestrange when I play sports. And so one of the elders in my district for my birthday painted a painting of me as Bellatrix Lestrange. So it's hanging above my bed with all of my Jesus pictures.
That's lovely.
It's a pretty good painting.
And what's your answer, Schoonmaker?
Ron Weasley.
Oh, yeah. Fred and George are kind of fun, though.
I know, they are really fun. It's kind of the Weasley family, if I'm being honest.
Did you guys read the books before you watched the movies?
Yes.
No.
Did you read the books after?
Have
you still not read the books?
I still haven't read the books.
Oh.
I have a really hard time staying. Like, I'll start reading a book and I'll be really into it, and then I'll slowly fall off.
Okay. So next good question then. Favorite book? Not Book of Mormon, not scriptures.
Oh.
Favorite book?
That's so hard. This is so just like, you can tell my personality so much by this, but it's the Work and the Glory series. Because
That's a great series.
I said I want to be a seminary teacher. I love church history, but my grandpa, he had all of the Work and the Glory books, and so I would like walk across the yard to go borrow books from him, and like we'd always just talk about it.
You know, years ago, I was trying to, I wouldn't say struggling with the issue of polygamy, but trying to find an answer that would resonate, how I could explain it to myself first. And I don't know that I've got a great answer, but I remember in that series, there's a footnote that just got my attention. It was kind of an answer to a prayer at that time. And so I really do appreciate that series a lot.
Yeah, I really like that series. It's just, I mean, obviously it's historical fiction, but it's like an easy way to kind of get into church history and learn a little bit more about it.
Into that period.
Yeah.
All right, top that, Ward.
I don't think I can. I didn't read a whole lot of books, but one series that I always enjoy is the Junie B. Jones books.
Oh.
And I know it sounds so silly because I'm a full-grown adult, but when I was little, I would read cover to cover a Junie B. Jones book in one night.
Did you guys ever read Skippy John Jones growing up?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
That was a really long time ago, but yeah.
I'm trying to help you remember
I
some books when you guys were like little kids.
I love Skippy John Jones.
Favorite primary song?
Ooh.
Okay, wait, fun primary song or like reverent primary song?
In your case, I'm going to say fun.
Fun primary song?
Because you're going to be too reverent. I want fun.
No, we are really reverent. Once I Was a Snowman. I love that song.
Have you ever heard the ska version of that?
No.
It's awesome.
We will be looking that up.
For me, fun primary song. I'm trying to think of all the primary songs. I know.
Popcorn Popping.
Oh, that's a good one too. Jesus Wants Me for a Sunbeam, when you get to like jump out of your chair. That's always a good one too.
Yes, yes. I think I would say Popcorn Popping, probably. But because I really love this one, I know it's not technically a fun one. I really love I Often Go Walking.
Okay. How about mainstream music? Like, what do you guys like to listen to? Any artists?
A lot of country music. Garth Brooks is probably my favorite.
Old school country?
Or old school country. I listen to newer stuff, and I still really like it, but old school country is like what I was raised on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
For me, I'm kind of all over the place.
If you tell me hip hop and Malad, I'm going to fall out of this chair.
No. I listen to a lot of music, a lot of Broadway, a lot of country. I also really enjoy, oh my gosh, I forgot what it's called.
The Mission Veil is strong.
It really is.
That veil of forgetfulness.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember it, but it's more like funky.
Okay. Was there pre-mission, if you can pierce that veil, can you recall shows that you enjoyed streaming?
Ooh, I really like Gilmore Girls.
That was great.
My mom and I would always watch that, and I really like Friends.
Good choices, both. Okay.
I watched a lot of comedies, so I really loved Friends and The Office. But one that wasn't a comedy, I really loved the show Reign.
I've never heard of it.
Reign. It's about Mary, Queen of Scots.
Oh, I think I've seen that. Out somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. All right. Let's see. Now tell us something off the wall, some embarrassing experience, most scary experience. I don't know, something like that from your life.
My life?
Yeah.
I think probably the scariest experience I've had is on my mission. I was serving out in El Centro, and we were in this tiny little town called Holtville. And in Holtville, there's not a lot of like paved streets once you kind of get out to the neighborhoods. And so we were on this dirt road, no street lamps. We were walking down, second day in the area. We get out of the car and we're trying to find this house to do a visit. And my companion and I, we take our phones out and we're shining the flashlight. And there's this irrigation ditch on the left side of us. And all of a sudden, this guy starts yelling at us from the other side of the irrigation ditch that he is gonna like shoot our brains out. And so my companion at the time, Sister Jensen, she is like what you would consider the perfect missionary. She's so hardworking, she's so diligent, but sometimes she's just so strong on the spirit that she loses some common sense. And so she's like, we should just keep walking. And I was like, absolutely not. And so I get her hand and I drag her back to the car. And usually these dirt roads are like dead ends, and so you have to turn around. And I was so worried that this was going to be a dead end. We were going to have to drive by his house again, but luckily it came back out on the main road and we were fine, we were safe. But I think that's probably the scariest experience that's ever happened to me.
Interesting. Okay, Sister Ward.
For me, the craziest experience I can think of is when I was like 7 years old, I got chased by a squirrel in Zion's National Park.
She's still scared of squirrels.
Oh, I hate them. They're demonic. But yeah, no, what happened is like I had been reading a pamphlet, and they have a pamphlet about don't feed the squirrels. And on the front, they have a picture of this guy's hand that is completely torn up because of this squirrel that attacked him. And then the whole pamphlet goes on about how the squirrels here are a little bit rabid and you should try and avoid them. And then we go on the trail, and as we're walking, it's on the Angel's Landing Trail, if any of you know where that is. But we're walking, and all of a sudden I see this little squirrel that's running up this boy's pant leg. So I'm terrified of this squirrel, and I'm going to avoid it at all costs. And I had my grandma's jacket on. Sorry, this is going to be a long story. But I had my grandma's jacket on, and so it was a little oversized. The sleeves were a little big on me. And we walked past the squirrel, and I kind of flapped my sleeves at it to try and scare it away, and it was not deterred. And it started chasing little 7-year-old me down the trail and around this poor old couple who I don't even know. But I was grabbing onto this old lady's arms, just yanking and kicking. And then I realized she wasn't my mom. So I ran to my mom, and then
The squirrel's chasing you the whole time.
Oh yeah, the squirrel's chasing me this whole time. And I finally get back to my mom, and the squirrel has stopped chasing me and sits at the bottom of the tree trunk and very cartoon-like just kind of jumps at me and then runs up the tree.
That's a little freaky.
Yeah.
That's a little freaky. All right, what's your favorite food?
Tacos.
Sour cream chicken enchiladas.
Favorite restaurant?
Ooh, Malad Drive-In.
La Casita in Springville.
Interesting. I think I know that place.
It's a hole in the wall. You drive past and you're gonna die there.
I'm pretty sure. I remember going there actually before my best friend took off on his mission. I went with him and his family.
That's so funny. So my grandpa has been going there since high school.
Wow.
And we've all just grown up going there. So they've got great food and great Diet Coke. So what more could you need?
Favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
Cheesecake.
Favorite candy?
Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Dude, how do you two get along? Have you seen the peanut butter cups that put Reese's Pieces?
Yeah, they're gross.
That sounds nasty.
They're disgusting.
That sounds delicious to me.
All right. So, last couple questions. What made you decide to serve a mission?
This is a really good question. You get this asked every time you change companions or every time you meet somebody new as a missionary, and so you answered a lot. And I think the shortest explanation I can give is God asked me to trust him. And I had this spiritual experience where his voice came to me and he asked me if I was going to trust him and go on a mission. And I kind of saw some like places I would serve and some people I would meet. And so I decided to go and I decided to serve. And this question's twofold in my mind because that's what gets you out on a mission, but there's also what keeps you on a mission. Why do you decide to stay on your mission? And I have stayed on my mission because of the people. There are people that I have needed to meet on my mission because I needed to help them or they needed to help me. And God loves all of his children so much, and I have felt his love for them and his love for me because of these experiences.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
How about you, Sister Ward?
Mine is a little bit of a long story.
Give us the short version then.
Yeah, I've learned to condense it because I've been able to tell it so many times. But I'd been praying about it for a really long time, like all the way from 8th grade until I was actually on my mission in the MTC. And I was just waiting for him to give me a yes or no answer. And he never did until I was in the MTC. But all this time, like...
He's kind of like, sucker, too late to change your mind.
Yeah. I had like all these little experiences along the way that were just crazy. And I had a friend tell me once to take all the steps forward. And if I wasn't supposed to go, he would tell me. So that's what I did. I just kind of took a blind leap of faith. It was terrifying. And there were things that happened along the way that I thought were an answer that I wasn't supposed to go. Like one time I was having my medical papers sent into my bishop, and they went to his mailbox, and his mailbox burned down in a fire. So it was just like things like that just kept happening. And every time I asked the Lord if that was my answer, if I wasn't supposed to go. And every time he told me, no, that's not your answer, keep pushing forward. And I think it really came down to he wanted me to know that he trusted me to make my own decisions.
That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that too. And it's absolutely true. Missions are a great experience and a great opportunity to live and to learn and to come to know Heavenly Father and recognize the Spirit. So that's great. Yeah. I forgot to ask you guys at the beginning, what areas have you served in on your mission?
I've served in so many areas.
Hit 'em.
Okay, so I started my mission in the San Diego Bay YSA, which covers from National City down to the border. And then I went to El Centro. And then I was in the Mount Woodson YSA, which covers all of the Poway stake and all of the Penasquito stake. And then I was in the Torrey Pines YSA. And then I was in the Ramona Ward and Julian Branch. And now I've been in the Del Mar First Ward.
Great areas.
They're great areas.
Yeah. Which one's your favorite? There's only one right answer.
That's a question
Excluding Del Mar, do you have a favorite?
So it's kind of... it's like for different reasons. I loved El Centro. I was only there for 6 weeks. I was in El Centro for 6 weeks. And I loved it because that's when I decided that I really wanted to start changing on my mission. And I had a great companion. It was her last transfer. And so she kind of gave all her wisdom to me and then she went home. But I loved Mount Woodson because of the community that they have there. And I was there for the longest on my mission. And so I just got to know the ward and the area super well.
That's cool. Thank you. Okay, Sister Ward, where have you been?
I started in Chula Vista first, and then I moved to Imperial Beach, which covers right down to the border. And then I went to Ramona and the Julian Branch, and then I came here.
So you went from Mom and Papa Faulkner to Evan and Megan Faulkner.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's great. Last question for you then. So you've had these experiences getting on your mission and changing on your mission. At this point in your life, who is Jesus Christ to you? We'll go with Ward and then Schoonmaker.
That is an amazing question. And it's one that's taken me a long time to come to know for myself. But to me, he is my savior in the typical sense. Like, he has literally saved me from sin and from death, but also in the sense that he has saved me from like despair. Because I know that if ever there's anything that I'm going through that is really hard for me, he also felt that, and he knows how to help me through it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ is my best friend. He is always there. He will sit on the floor with me and cry, and then he will jump for joy with me when I am at my best and most positive. But most importantly, he is the Redeemer. There is no way we could get through anything in life without him. We strive for perfection in this life, but when you have perfection, it takes out Christ because you're not relying on him. And so I love Christ because I know I can always rely on him, and he has my back. And if I've learned anything on my mission, it's that he loves each one of us so much, and I know that he loves me, and that's taken me a long time to learn.
Thank you. Those are great principles and great testimonies, and I felt the Spirit as we've talked here today. Hopefully everybody else does. So we've had the Spirit, we've laughed, we've joked. It's been fun getting to know both of you, and I appreciate making time. Sister Schoonmaker and Sister Ward, thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah,
Thank
of course.
you.